Yeah, I'm grateful, to the Aquilinis and the board for, believing in the plan that we have and re-signing me, and and I appreciate all the support from the fans to understand, like, what we're trying to do with the team and rebuilding the team and stuff. And I'm happy about the moves we made this summer and excited about training camp getting started here in 3 weeks.
There seemed to be a narrative that perhaps this was a show-me season for you, and if you didn't make the playoffs, that was it. Was that ever in discussion? Were you always confident something might get done?
Yeah, I was hopeful. I have a real good relationship with Francesco, and we've talked about things and the direction of the team, and we want to keep improving and we want to take the next step this year. And I think that reflected on the signings we made this summer. Some a little bit guys that are a little bit older to help continue with the growth of our young players, and we want to continue going in the right direction, taking the next step, and being a competitive team.
How do you make that relationship work, Jim? You've got an owner who's very passionate. He also spends to the cap, so you have to appreciate that as a general manager. He's hands-on. He sits at your table at the draft. I mean, how do you make that relationship work? Because he has a vested interest in his investment, yet you're trying to take a team in a certain direction.
Yeah, well, he's been excellent with me and supporting. We kind of go over the plan with him, and he's real passionate. He wants the team to be successful. He wants to bring a Stanley Cup to the city of Vancouver. So, for me to work with somebody like that, I like that because, he's aggressive in wanting to, spend the money to make the team competitive. So, for me, it works great.
Would you say it's fair to say that the work since the Edler extension, including the trade for Miller and Myers and Ferland, led to the extension?
We've been talking about that. We've been talking about it before we did all those moves. But those moves were made so our team could take the next step and be more competitive next year. I think, last year, the first 60 games we were competitive. The last 20 games we kind of fell off. We didn't have the depth and we got injuries and stuff, and we ended up not making the playoffs. And I think we've addressed some of those needs in signing what we think are 2 top 6 forwards to help out with Petey and Bess, and with Pearson and Bow, and shoring up our defense. So it's going to be the continued growth of our young players. They have to come in here. Having Quinn Hughes for a full year is going to be exciting, I think, this year. And with Brock and Bo and Petey, and them continuing to get better, and with the support of some older experienced guys, like, I'm excited.
Jim, has your plan taken longer to come to fruition than you expected? Because when you first took the job a few years ago, you thought the turnaround was going to be a lot quicker.
Well, and what I did say back then, and we did turn it around. That next year, we signed some players, we made the playoffs, but at that point, I realized that, with the group we had, we were going to have to try to rebuild the team, and that was going to happen through drafting well and signing some free agents to help these young players develop, and that's the course of action we took.
Where are you at right now? I think everyone expected Brock's deal to be done by now, and we're heading into late August. Where is that situation at?
I'm continuing to talk with Ben Hankinson. We're trying to get to some common ground. Like, none of the RFAs have signed yet. So I'm going to continue to work with them, and I'm hopeful that we can get something done here before camp, so he's there at the start of camp.
Are you concerned that there are some other RFAs who seem to be exploring options overseas? It looks like Marner might be looking at going to Zurich.
Well, we're not there yet. We have 3 more weeks, to negotiate with Ben and Hankinson, about Brock, to try to get him figured. I think the Bo Horvat thing happened like 3 days before camp, so I still feel like we have time to keep working on it, and I'm hopeful it's going to get done.
Everybody focuses on Marner, Jim. Are you of the mind that there are reasonable comparables out there? There's such a big RFA market, but when you prorate Brock's point total to the guys who are kind of in his category, it seems to me that there are some reasonable comparables out there, and this shouldn't be quite an arduous negotiation that you could point to guys, whether it's a Timo Meier or Connor, who he's kind of the same point total with. So do do you see that there's some common ground
Yeah,
and comparables?
I think so. And, you know, when we've talked to Ben, like those are some of the names that we've used, and you know, they've been reasonable from their side too. So we're going to continue talking to them and hopefully find some common ground here and get the deal done.
When you look at your hockey ops department, your discussions with Francesco, was there any conversation about adding to it in the sense of maybe just if you wanted some help on the pro side, or maybe have some sort of an advisor? Has there been any discussion about adding to your group just to maybe
Yeah,
take
and
some of the workload off?
we've made some changes that
Yeah.
we're going to announce here. We got to still sign some guys to contracts and stuff, and we're working through that right now. And I'm hoping to have an announcement in a couple weeks about some of the moves we made and the changes we made within our hockey ops department.
So somebody that might be able to work in that advisory capacity, whether it's
Well, we have
pro
like,
side or
yeah,
whatever?
like our pro scouts do an excellent job. Brett Henning, I think, is excellent, and his whole staff's good. We have 4 guys there. You know, Doug Jarvis helps a lot. You know, he's won 6 Stanley Cups, and you know, he's kind of at that advisory role for us. You know, we've made some changes in our amateur scouting staff, I think, to, you know, continue to get better and do a better job in the later rounds, and we'll announce those changes here in a couple weeks. And with Scott Walker leaving, we're going to replace him with who we feel is a real good replacement. And so, you know, those are things that happen. Some of our guys got promotions in other organizations and got to move up, you know, in management positions. So we're happy, you know, for those guys that left and got better opportunities. And I think it's a feather in our cap that we're doing things the right way, and other teams have taken notice and have hired some of our people.
Do you need help though on a day-to-day basis with your?
I have,
manager?
yeah, I have an excellent supporting staff with John Weisbrod, Chris Gear, Jonathan Wall, like Stan Smeals in the office, and you know, we talk to him on a daily basis. So I feel comfortable with the group that we have, and you know, we're going to continue to look at ways to be better and go from there.
So are there any plans to replace president of hockey ops or add an assistant GM, anything higher up like that?
Well, we're like, that's a question for Francesco, not for me. But you know, we're looking at some things right now, and that announcement will be in a couple weeks.
Jim, since you've become the general manager, it seems like the role of somebody in the front office has changed dramatically, the way that the game is analyzed. Analytics, the business side of things, managing the cap. How much has it changed in the 5 years, and do you feel that your staff is equipped for the next 5 years, the way that the market has changed?
Yeah, I believe that. We have an excellent staff from our analytics department. Aiden Fox does excellent work for us. And so, you know, we're going to continue to grow and keep getting better.
How much has it changed in your mind? You think?
It's changed. The analytics part of the game, I think, has really changed. But, you know, as far as managing the cap and all those different things, like, that's been the same for the last 10 years. So as, you know, we continue to grow as a team and get better, our young players are going to come up for contracts, and we're going to have to, you know, be prudent and making sure we sign them to good deals. So, but we got a plan for all that, and I think we can make it work.
That was my next question. That was my next question. When you look at the next 2 years after this year, I think you're going to lose around $8 or $9 million off the books, but you're going to have some big signings coming up in the next couple of years. How do you look at Jacob Markstrom? You're going to have to sign Petey again in 2 years' time. How do you look at all that? 2 years
Yeah,
time?
like those are daily conversations that we have up in our hockey ops department, and we have a plan for all that. And Jonathan Wall's our capologist, and he's excellent at what he does. And you know, we had a long conversation about, you know, even going into this year, you know, how we're going to make the cap work and stuff. So we're on top of all that stuff.
Can you share that with us? How are you going to make it work? Because right now, you just got a little bit over $5 million.
Yeah.
Brock's probably going to come in around $7 million plus.
Well, we're, you know, like we're going to go to training camp. We got some extra guys.
Yes.
We're going to see, you know, we got 3 weeks before we start camp, and we're going to go through camp and see how camp goes and see where our guys are, and the players that deserve to be here are going to be here, and then we're going to probably have to make some tough decisions.
And you've had that discussion with ownership about perhaps sending guys down to the minors who are on big tickets?
Yes, we have. Yes.
And that's something that could happen?
Yes, it could happen. Sure.
Are you
And we
also-
got other options too. We can go into LTI, and we got different options to make the cap work.
Because there's a possibility you could go over and try to get CAM compliant by day one of the season
Right,
too, right? So
right.
there's
So
options.
we got different options. We're looking at all of our options, but a lot's going to depend on training camp. Like we're going to have a competitive camp this year. There's going to be competitions for jobs and ice time. So I know Travis is excited about it and having different options, and we're going to try out different guys and see how it works.
With the work that you've done, how could you summarize the coming season in one word, Jim? Is it intriguing? Is it interesting? Like, where do you see this team in terms of the work you've done in the offseason and what could come to play here in the fall?
Well, we want to continue to get better, to move forward. I think, like we want our young players to, we want to be in the hunt. We want to play meaningful games in February and March. Our goal is to make the playoffs, and so our young players can experience, what playoff hockey. Like that's an important part of their development. So, by signing some of these players that we did this summer, it's with the goal in mind that we want to keep getting better, moving forward, and being, a competitive team that can compete for a playoff spot.
And Jim, was there any doubt that this contract extension was going to be offered up to you?
Well, I think, ownership, I think, is happy, with the direction of the team. From when I started, we've had to draft, players, and I think we've drafted well. We got some good players now that are going to be, cornerstones, core players for our group for the next 10 years. And whether it's, with Petey, with Bess, with Quinn Hughes, with Demko, we drafted Triamkin in the third round, and we're going to, continue to see where that ends up, and hopefully at some point get him back in the fold. And so, it's been a combination of trying to sign some free agent players to support the development and the growth of our young players, but ultimately it's going to be, our young players keep getting better to, be a competitive team and be where we want to be year in and year out.
Getting 3 years, it's safe to say that ownership shares your vision, then, Jim?
Yeah, I think so. Like they, like Francesco is always been real supportive. He's, believes in the plan that we have in place, and, he's helped us to, whether it's been in trying to recruit free agents and stuff, he's been part of the process, and I appreciate that.
Further to Ben's question, how big of a year is this for this organization? We know it's the 50th anniversary. Making the playoffs or bust is what it looks like. Capsulating 2019-2020, it's a big year for this team and for yourself.
Yeah, but I think, going into every year we have, certain expectations as to what we want to accomplish, and this year's going to be no different. I just feel like we have now, better players to help get us to where we want to be, and I think, Travis is excited about that. Us in the management side, we're excited, and I know I talked to the players here the last couple of weeks, and they're all excited to get going, and I think they understand that we have the depth now to, hopefully overcome injuries when we have them, and so that's why we play the games. We play 82 games to kind of see where we're at as an organization and as a team, and so I'm hoping that with the moves we made this summer, we can get through the pitfalls and be competitive for 82 games.
You mentioned annual expectations. Over the last few years, do you think you have fallen short of those, or because the team has struggled over the past few years?
Yeah, well, it's been a combination, I think, of a couple different things. Like, quite frankly, the Sedins were part of our organization and great players for us for a long time. So there was a little bit of anxiety going into last year not having the Sedins, and we had some young players step up and kind of take over roles that they weren't accustomed to in the past, and and had good seasons for us. So we're going to continue to down that path of drafting well and developing players, and when these young players are ready to play, getting them in the lineup. But I think from a team standpoint, we have better depth and we have better players to help those young players develop.
So Brock Besser is obviously the big question for RFAs, but you also have Nikolai Goldobin.
Yeah, so
re-sign.
so we've talked to the Newport group a couple days ago, and you know, we're trying to get something figured out for Goldie, and you know, we want to try to get both of them done here in short order if we can, but understanding that, you know, sometimes we've got to be patient and these things take time, but we're working on getting both of them done.
Are you prepared to head into training camp with players still left unsigned?
Well, our hope is that we're going to have everybody signed going into camp.
Tracking's not a possibility until next season.
Yeah, he's got one more year left on his contract, and it would be the next season.